Okay, so today is December 1st. I'm doing my video submission for the first forum challenge for the year challenge. Um, so let's get started. This year has been a very awesome year for me. Had a Physically, it's been pretty awesome. Mentally, had ups and downs for a few different reasons. Um, let's just kind of go over it. I wrote everything down that I thought kind of needed to be mentioned in my video, um, but let's get started. So it's written down right here. I'm not sure if you can see it. I'll do a little scan of it after I'm done talking. But I guess we'll start here in January. So I got laid off from work January 28th. I started the first forum challenge, the beginning of the year challenge, just because I was like, let's see what I can do. And I did it just because I wanted to. And I hope to win the money and stuff. So I came runner up, and it was pretty awesome. Uh, so my kind of mindset was during that time was hard work and dedication. So I guess one of the trainers from The Biggest Loser, Dole Vet, he used to yell at his people hard work, and they would yell back dedication. So that was kind of my mantra for most of the month of January, just hard work, dedication, hard work, dedication, and that's a lot of the reason I got a lot of my results was just because that mantra I had in my head. Uh, so at that time in January, I would say I was really selfish, just focusing on myself and my results. And I am married, have been for 13 years, I have two kids, um, but I wasn't doing my part as a husband and a father, and so like I had really bad communication. So kind of me and my wife were having a little bit of issue with communication because of me. But she was able, like we've been together long enough, she was able to communicate from her end that I wasn't doing the right stuff that I needed to do for my family. So that kind of like, because she's really smart, she's pretty amazing, helped us get on a better path together through this transformation. For the month of February, I didn't have a job. Uh, so not having a job actually entitled me to work more with my family. Um, I have it written down. It says I was doing good, had more time with no job. So I was doing good, able to focus on myself, my transformation, while also being better communicating with my wife on things that I still need to be doing as a father and husband. And I had a great time. It was pretty nice. It's pretty awesome. So in the month of March, I got called back for work starting March 25th. And so whenever I came back on March 25th, there was rumors going around that I was up for the new FHW3 position that wasn't filled from the previous year. And so I was pretty happy about it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to get a new position. I'm going to get paid more. Everything's going to be going great. I just got done winning that challenge, and everything was looking really good. I was going to do good. I was going to get a new position, have new responsibilities, get paid more. It was going to be great. Um, so my mindset in the month of March was just keep going, keep going. You're doing good. You're crushing everything. Keep going. Double down. You got everything good. You're working hard. It's paying off. It's showing. Keep going. Uh, and at that time, that month of February, me and my wife had gotten a lot better at communicating, or at least I got better at communicating with her what I was doing, how I was doing, and why I was doing it. And so for the month of March, I kind of doubled down on that too to be a better communicator with my family and my wife and my kids. So yeah, I me and my wife are really good communicators right now, but I still probably wasn't as good a communicator with my kids, and so I still work on that even to this day. So in the month of March, I really did kind of focus on trying to communicate better with my family and my kids, and it's gotten pretty good so far. Uh, so in Tunnel 1, or I guess in April, so where I work at Owens Corning Fiberglass Manufacturing. So we have two tunnels, um, pretty much where they melt the glass, make the product, melt the glass, make the product. They had shut down one tunnel, and they brought it back up. So whenever they brought it back up, it has to stay running for 24 hours, or has to stay running constantly. It's melting glass constantly. So if you try to stop it, that glass gets hard, and you have to remelt it, and it's not good. So yeah, and in the month of April, I started to go more of a bulking type phase, I guess you would say. But it was really hard to kind of do that because just I was afraid of the scale moving up. So yes, I'm bulking. Yes, I'm trying to do this, trying to gain muscle, but mentally it was still hard to keep seeing that scale move up. But we got through it. So my mentality, or yeah, my mindset was get big, pretty much. I want to be pretty much lean, but I still want to be big. I've never really been the thin guy, the lean guy. So when I dropped that weight, it's like I was kind of small, or at least I felt small. So then I was like, all right, let's gain muscle. So in the month of April, whenever I started going back to work and set some stuff, I did make a good schedule for me on how I was going to, I guess, start making more specific time for my family. And so also in that month of April, after that startup, and I was telling you about getting a level 3 job, I actually got passed up on that level 3 job because one guy who had more total seniority at the plant got the position over me. So I have actually been training to be level 3 longer than he has, or I had been a backup level 3 longer than he has, but he had total years of experience, or total years out in Owens Corning. And so I kind of understood. I was like, hey, he has more seniority than me. There's not much I can do, and they just gave him the position. So I was upset with that, but I had a good understanding of why they gave it to him and not to me. So that kind of frustrated me a little bit at the end of April, but it was all right because that means they had a good reason. He had more seniority than me. For the month of May, during that startup, they kind of told, or I guess in April during that startup, they told us that hey, we know pretty much how it's going to run when it starts up. We're going to need everybody to work at least 4 days on, 2 days off, just for 2 weeks. And we're like, you know what? We understand. We got to get through it. It's going to happen. Just 2 weeks. It's not too bad. But in the month of May, we were still going. So after the startup, 3 weeks later, we were still getting mandatory, and it started like, oh, okay, this kind of got real old real quick, but we still had to keep doing it pretty much. Yeah. So let's talk about work right here. So I've been working about 60 hours a week since the mid-April, and it still says mandatory still going on, 60 plus hours a week, and then I'm still driving to work and driving back. So that's my extra hour and a half to work and an extra hour and a half back. So after a few weeks of getting mandatory right here, it says I was getting wore out from work, and I kind of let my nutrition go a little bit, and it was kind of a rough time because I wasn't used to as earlier I went like a month and a half, 2 months, yeah, about a month and a half of no working to working 60 hours a week constantly, and like it's not easy work. It's hot. It's strenuous. So I started kind of letting my nutrition go, eating what was easy, not eating what was good for me. My mentality at this time in the month of May was, man's got to eat. I was trying to, I guess you would say, make excuses for myself about why I was starting to get a little bit bigger. I was like, man's got to eat. Man, I'm working so much, trying to work out. Man's got to eat. Mm-hmm. So in the month of June, we were still getting mandatory, tired of working overtime. So after that, I kind of started calling off on my mandatory overtime day so that I could spend more time at home because I could tell after being after working 60 hours a week for about month and a half, I was like, man, my family life is starting to struggle. My kids are crying because they don't get to see me as much, and man, it was a hard time working so much and just pouring out myself into my company, trying to make me and myself and my companies and the people around me just better. And it was a struggle. So that's kind of the reason I started calling off so I could spend more time at home with my family and my kids, where I actually want to spend a lot of my time. So during that time, I was getting mandatory. I had kind of set schedules for my 3 on, 3 off, and then throw in an extra day every week. Uh, I didn't have a good plan for it. So in the month of June, I started making a plan of uh, trying to like mitigate that a little bit. Like, hey, you can't use work as a very good excuse. You need to focus up and kind of do what you need to do to keep your results that you had already had and keep working towards your actual goal, not just kind of letting it go. So my mindset in the month of June was kind of like, what am I doing? Um, so I kind of got to the point where I was like, I felt like I was beating my head against the wall, just going to work, coming home, or going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home. And I was just like, what am I doing? I really didn't have a good sense of direction in the month of June. I was like, man, I kind of felt like I was just spinning my wheels. I didn't know what I was doing. And so I did need to kind of focus up and make some goals for myself. So in the month of July, still getting mandatory, and I was still starting to call off for my mandatory overtime day, and so nobody really. I know the people I work with noticed like, hey, he's been here, but he hasn't been here on mandatory day, and just like everybody else too, because so we started kind of counting um, all the asked for mandatory overtime. So I'm on A shift, and we have to cover C shift for their overtime. They have been calling for about 16 slivers, or which my permanent position is right now, a sliver. They've been calling for about 16, no, 6 a day. So that equals 18 slivers for the 3 days that I'm supposed to be off. And we've come to realize the A shift only has 12. So there's either some people get mandatory for 2 days a week, or they just go shorthanded, and it's pretty shitty. So even on my overtime days, I was still kind of calling off so I could spend more time at home because that's where I want to be at. Like I want to spend I want to spend my time with my family and my kids, not selling my time away for work, not selling my life away for a job that I'm not particularly happy with. So right at the end of July, to kind of help ease some of that overtime, I've been having some nagging knee issues for several years now. So at the end of July, I decided, hey, let's get this knee surgery done so I can have a little bit of time off. So on July 30th, I ended up having knee surgery. So I say knee surgery, but it's this little bone right here. So it was actually a lot bigger because it had actually separated where my patellar tendon inserted into my tibia. It separated a little piece of bone, so I had a piece of bone floating in my tendon. So the doctor went in, cut that tendon a little bit, pulled that bone out, and shaved down that tibial tuberosity just a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of what I. Since then, it's been a lot better. It was a road to recovery, but it's getting better every day. I don't say every day; it's getting better every week. So my mindset in the month of July was, why am I doing this? So it was more kind of geared towards work. Like, why am I working my ass off at work when it's not something I want to do and it's not something I really like doing? I come to the conclusion that I do it because it pays my bills, not because I like it. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. During the month of July, I just kept asking myself, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And it was a time where I was like, man, I'm really fed up with work. I really want to quit, but I don't want to put my family in a bad situation. So I just kind of kept going. It did give me a little clue, like, hey, we need to start thinking about what we want to do after this. So in the month of September, I missed August. The month of August, I was out of work because of my knee surgery. I was out for about 8 weeks or 6 weeks. So during that month of August, I changed my nutrition up so that I wouldn't gain a lot of fat because I know I wasn't going to be very active at all. It was a rough time for me, like not being able to move like I like to, not being able to walk, or not being able to, pretty much not being able to walk or play with my kids or anything like that. And mentally, it was kind of a rough time, but I understood why it was. Like, I needed to heal my knee in the long run so that I'll be better in the long run. I needed to wait and kind of let my heal right now rather than trying to kill it to work out or anything, so that later on down the road I won't have as many knee problems or anything like that. So also, in the month of August, I started changing my mindset to challenge yourself. So I've been doing things that were kind of hard, so I started trying to just think about things that would challenge me and started trying to do things like that. So I just kind of used that mindset of challenging myself for that month, pretty much. So in that time off, I actually was able to have a kind of create my support system that I wanted and needed. So my wife is my rock. She really is. And having her around me, being able to be around her and talk with her, like actually communicate with her long periods of time rather than just being on the phone while I'm at work, I was able to kind of sit with her and talk with her and just create a better, stronger foundation for us. And so also, I actually started training other people here around in Floydada who wanted to see some changes and things like that. So they would come over to my house where I have a small gym set up, and we would just kind of work out together. And while we're working out, we would kind of talk about nutrition and things like that in ways that I could kind of help them. So, it wasn't exactly through the first format, but I started reaching out to people here in Floydada that I could actually communicate with on a daily basis and build little workouts that they would like, rather than just like, oh, do this workout. It's like, hey, what do you like to do? And so we've been doing pretty good about that, especially while my time off, because of my knee surgery, I wasn't able to push myself, but I was able to push myself in the fact that I could help other people, and I could show I could show other people what needed to be done to start seeing better results or seeing any results that they weren't seeing. So that was a really good foundation for me to kind of learn, like, hey, I do know what I'm talking about. I can get people to build themselves up. So in the month of September, I went back to work on about the 20th, and they were still getting mandatory, which I thought was pretty crazy because that was part of the reason I did my knee surgery was because I didn't want to get mandatory. I signed up to do 3 on 3 off 9 years ago, and we're still doing 4 on 2 off, 5 on 1 off. It's been a struggle. So in the month of September, when I went back to work, I kind of had to stop training my friends and stuff here at my house because I just didn't have a lot of time, and I wanted to spend the time I did have at home with my family because they're the ones who are important to me. Um, I try to put my family first before anything, pretty much. Um, but yeah, I kind of slowed down a lot, so they would still kind of hit me up and like, hey, what about this, and suggestions and things like that. But they understand like that I've been working a lot, and this is what my schedule is, and so we kind of haven't really been training since I went back to work. I've been doing my own little workouts and stuff, but I haven't really made the time or made the effort to train other people yet, or at least in September. So my mindset in September was get it done. So it was a rough time. So all I would think pretty much in the month of September was get it done. If I was at work, get it done. You only have 12 hours, you can get it done. If I was doing my workouts, I had everything planned. So I was like, all right, we need to get here, get it done, go. So I found I found a good time crunch to where I could get more life at a time. It's been working out pretty good so far, actually. We're going to go over my day and night schedules at the end of this. So in the month of October, still getting mandatory, still working 60 plus hours a week. So I actually did, so that guy that got the job back in April ended up quitting the day after I started my knee surgery. So while I was out, my shift had they had a backup, but he still had less seniority than me. So finding that out, when I went back in September 20th, the rumors kind of went around again. Is, hey, you got the most seniority out of all the backup level 3s. You're going to be getting the FHW3 position. And I was like, yeah, man, that's awesome. Things were still going up and down, but it was a good sign to see like, hey, I put in my time, things are going to get better. I'm going to get a new position and start getting paid more. So when I went back, I went into the role as an FHW3. Even though I was a backup, I was the guy running the show pretty much. So in October, still getting mandatory, but they actually ended up they gave me the FHW3 position, and that was the permanent position, so that would be my permanent position. And I was pretty happy and pretty excited about it. I was already doing the job, doing it good. Everything was going good. About 2 weeks later, they called me at home and kind of took the position away, and they were like, hey, we kind of jumped the gun about giving you the position, now you have to apply for it. And I kind of argued with them a little bit. I was like, hey, what about the last 3 guys that you just gave them the position, but you're telling me I have to apply for it? You just gave two other guys in April the position as level 3, but you're telling me I have to apply for it? And I was just kind of felt defeated at that time because I knew at that time they were going to pick who they wanted to pick rather than who had the most seniority, who had the best experience. They wanted their friend to be in that position to get paid more. So it was, the month of October was a pretty upsetting time for me just because I was like, I put in a lot of time, put in a lot of effort to get a new position, and it just kind of like, yeah, no. They gave it to you and took it back. It was pretty hard. Um, so in October, the end of the year challenge, and whenever I found out about that new position, how I got it and got taken away, it was a rough time for me, and so I really did want to give up on this end of the year challenge already, um, but I didn't. And it says my mindset in the month of October was hard work pays off. So I do like a lot of CrossFit stuff, and I do follow Matt Frazier a lot. And his main quote is hard work pays off, and I'm a firm believer in hard work pays off. I work hard, I do really good, and I get results that I want generally. Um, I I hadn't really run into a lot of negative or a lot of um, people saying no to me before, because people see me putting the effort, doing good, and actually showing them that I can do the job, showing them that I can get results, and it's got metrics everywhere that they're like, hey, he lost weight, he got his results. Hey, he's doing really good at work. Um, we're doing this, but all my metrics look really good. And then like it really shows that my hard work has been paying off, but it really felt undermined, or I really felt like everything got undermined when they weren't taking into account my hard work and all the things that I had been doing. So during this time of month of October, I did talk a lot with my wife about work and stuff like that, and she kind of helped reaffirm that she is my support. No, she didn't affirm it. I affirmed it in my head, like, hey, this is this is it. My wife, she's my support system. She's amazing. Like, man, she's just my wife's pretty awesome. So in the month of November, still getting mentored as a sliver, still working 60 plus hours a week. The FHW3 position uh, was given to other people, not to me, even though I was more qualified, had more experience, and everything like that. But they were giving it to two other people who who've never trained as a level 3, but they had a better interview than me. So I'll I'll take responsibility for that. I understand that in their eyes, I had a bad interview because they asked me the question, how can we make this position better? And I took it as like, hey, I know several different ways to make this position better. This is why this position sucks. This is why you have certain downtime, and um, they didn't want to hear that. They wanted to hear, oh, this position's good. You don't really need to change anything. You can do it. But it really did blow my mind how they gave it to two other people who never trained in the position, didn't know how to answer a question that they'd asked me, how do you make this position better? Um, yeah, it just kind of blew my mind that they would hire somebody who's not qualified to do the job over somebody who is qualified. And it really, really threw me for a loop in this past month of November. I've been really struggling just to find the reason why to keep going to this company. So in the month of November, I did kind of really want to give up on work, give up on the challenge, and just kind of turn the lights off, blind the shades, and just stay in a dark room. It was a really tough time for me. What kind of got me through it was my wife and kind of talking, but we ended up putting a plan together so that I can quit here pretty soon and start my own kind of next career path. So my mindset in November was finish it. I made a commitment to myself to finish this challenge, and I'm finishing it today. Yeah, like changing mindsets to what am I doing to finish it? Like it's kind of helped me a lot so that I can actually I have a light at the end of the tunnel of what I'm actually going to do. So it's not a light at the end of the tunnel of like this whole transformation. It's more like having going through a bad mindset and going through a tough time. I can set my own time zone or time frame of when I believe my life is going to get better and not have to go to a job that doesn't appreciate me and kind of devalues all the work that I put in. And so, like, part of that, talking with my wife, she was able to kind of help me understand that showing up today or showing up every day for yourself and for your work is what builds your value or your self-value. Because I knew how good I was and how good I was at doing the job. And other people didn't see that because they don't see, or it was the HR, they don't see me every day putting in the work of actually running the position and things like that. So it kind of was very demeaning and undervalued to me, but I knew I had a lot of value in myself and in my work ethic and in my work itself because I showed up every day and built my own self-confidence to show like, hey, this is why I'm good. I know I'm good, but you don't see it because you're not here and you're the one hiring for the position. So we'll kind of see how things go from there. So I did make a plan for me to quit and start my own new journey. And the whole process with me, I guess my communication has gotten a lot better just with me and everybody else in general. So I've been able to communicate, like before I wouldn't communicate any discrepancies I saw. I would just kind of let things go, and if that's what they want to do, we would go with that. But when doing this whole year challenge, it did kind of help me to grow my own confidence to say and speak up and be like, hey, this is wrong because of this. This is a way to do things better and actually get things done a lot more efficient. But they don't want to hear that in an interview. So today's the first month of December, and I think I finished this challenge off pretty strong. My mindset right now is going to be stand strong because I do feel like I did have ups and downs throughout this year, and yeah, I'm going to finish this year off strong. I'm going to do good. I'm planning to do another marathon attempt. So I attempted to do a marathon in, I think it was October. And I started cramping up after about 9 miles in, and I ended up doing 13 miles, but man, that was rough. And I'm going to try and do it again pretty soon. Kind of some side notes also. We already kind of went over this, but I was passed up for that level 3 position because my interview. And so and this is me going over everything that I kind of went through. Let's do this.